Hello, world. Black and brown people across the world is reconnecting to their roots and redefining their relationships to the land with gardening and farming. And Black Gardener Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color, and maybe even some that don't look like us, to go by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own space to talk. That's right. Good morning, I'm Kamani Anku, and this is Black Gardener Talk, and my guest today is Falani Spivey of Bird Nest LLC. Alright, so let's get her in the room, get things going. Welcome, welcome everyone. Tell a friend to join us. Stop playing with us and join us. Alright, let me get her. Good morning. Let me get this thing is crazy. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me really good?
Hey,
Yes, I'm excited to
yes,
have
can
you
you hear
on
me?
today. Yeah, the people better come in the room because they about to get a
Nice.
treat.
Thank you for
They about to
having
get a
me.
treat.
Yes. And I wanted to say, Kimani, my
Oh, okay.
name is pronounced Falani and not
Falani.
Falani. But I am, yes, Falani. So I'm so happy to be here this
Yeah.
morning with you.
What's up,
Hey,
world? Yeah, so Falani.
Priskavoo.
I got it. You know what?
Mm,
I was thinking it was going to be Falani
yes.
anyway, but I said, let me do Falani just to be on the safe
Mm-hmm.
side. But I'm glad you corrected me. I'm always
Uh-huh.
here to learn. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Falani Spivey
Yes.
is here. I got the Spivey part because I work with a couple Spiveys
Yes, that's
before.
right.
Um, yeah. So I
Oh,
knew I had
nice.
that part right. But hold on, I gotta
Yes.
turn this down. But I'm excited. People
Okay,
come on
okay.
in the room because we
No
got a
problem.
treat. We got a treat. We have Falani in the house. So I want to really quickly go over
Yes.
the little opening again in case anybody missed it. But black and brown people across the world is reconnecting to their roots. They're refining their relationship to the land with gardening and farming. And Black Gardening Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color and even people that don't look like us to grow by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own space to talk. And that's what we're gonna do this morning. All right, so let's get
Mm-hmm.
into it. Um,
I love it.
Falani, tell the people who you
Yes.
are.
Yes. My name is Falani. I was born, bred, and raised in DC, and my summer times were spent in NC, North Carolina,
That's what's
where
up.
I currently am. This is my childhood playground right here. And I'm at my grandparents' house now. So, I am a filmmaker and a agriculturalist and a horticulturalist. And I began growing my own crops just for sustaining my life in 2015. And I grew up in a very culinary home. So my mom is a great chef and a great cook. So um, I started growing my own foods because I grew up, down here helping my grandparents grow and farm. So I love good foods and I started growing to, again, sustain my life. And then in 2020, I started to sell my produce. So I curate personalized farm boxes for one, and I it includes seasonal harvest vegetables, whatever's in season. Right now, I bought my salad bags back, and I'm still harvesting peppers and butternuts and okras, And then I also have a compound herb butter that I include, or a gourmet cheese, and those include herbs that I grow. And then I also usually include like a sweet treat or a southern snack or something, fun. So,
Oh
yeah, that's
yeah.
about the size
That's
of
what's
me in
so
my
it's like
current
a
life right
like one
now.
of those subscription services.
hmm
You can get this box. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you know what? I need to get there with the subscription services. But right now I do pop-ups,
Oh, pull up.
so you can pull up and get your box. And yeah, so and soon I'm about to start doing my soups and salads. So stay tuned
The
for that if
DMV.
you're
I'm
in
in the
the
DMV. I'm gonna pull up.
DMV area.
Yeah,
I
DC
like to
area,
say
all
DC
that.
area.
So you
Yeah.
said you always went to
So
North Carolina.
yes.
So what was one of your first memories of gardening down in South North Carolina?
Um, that's such a good question. I can't really recall like my very first memory because I probably was coming down here, since a baby, but I can say that I recall, picking field peas and having a shell bushes of field peas, with my cousins and everything. And also we had some fruit trees too. A storm came through and took a lot of our trees down, a tornado, but I remember picking, fresh apples. I remember eating fresh cantaloupes and watermelons. And my absolute favorite, I think, garden memory is harvesting cabbage and my grandmother making a pot of cabbage. It just tastes so, so good. And she made it very simple with just like crushed red pepper and salt and probably a little black pepper and butter, but it was just like heaven on earth. So that was my like favorite crop growing up. And butter
Oh yeah.
beans. I love some butter beans. So we grew those too. And yeah, and it's just really just being out here, um shelling those peas. It's a pecan tree right here too that we have. And
That's
just
what's
being on
up.
the
That's
land
what's
with
up.
my
I had ties to
family.
North Carolina too, so I don't
hmm
remember going down there gardening, but I do remember like vaguely remember like peanuts, picking the peanuts out the field. Um, yeah,
hmm
my mom is from another country, but we
Uh-huh.
did have ties to North Carolina where her dad was a farmer. But
Okay.
I was always scared to go, so I had a great grandmother that was about I think she lived to about 120 to believe it or not. And so she was yeah, she was
Whoa.
really
I
old when I
believe
used to
it.
go down there as a baby. And I was so scared that like every time I would go, I would
hmm
have to stay with her. And I was scared of her because she was like so old. And I just didn't never see anything like
Yeah.
that. So I always would never stay down there. I would be like
Uh-huh.
happy to go. But then when it was time for my dad and mom to come
Yeah.
back, I'd jump right in there and be ready to go. And
Yeah,
that's
and be
in
ready to
Durham, North
go.
Carolina. And it's funny. Yeah,
Oh, that's not
not
too
to
far
take
from
away from your
us.
interview, but that
Uh-huh.
house is still there and it's a historical
hmm
property now and nobody can touch it. And my cousin actually owns it now and will
Wow.
help with the upkeep of it. And many times like Walmart and different people wanted to come in and
Yeah.
destroy it and make a Walmart and different things like that. But they couldn't because it's historical. But I did
hmm
remember a couple times like just getting
Wow.
those peanuts, but like I said, I would jump right back in that car and, and get back up the
Yeah,
road.
and be gone.
Um, so I'm assuming,
Yeah. But look, I want you to keep kind of hopping in because that's what this talk is about, is to engage. And it's interesting that you said, about kind of being a little scared coming down here. And like you said, you have never seen anybody that old. And down here, being in the country, it's a very spiritual place and it's like a time capsule. So it's kind of, um, I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I was a child, it's almost like being coming down and being in a movie, so to speak. When when you leave a city, because it's totally different lifestyles, and different landscapes and stuff. So I'm they we it was obligatory for us to come down. So I was always, used to it. But of course there would be times, where you would miss being up north, the convenience of, going to the corner store and all of that. But now as an adult, I appreciate it, so much, because we would just be down here. We could run to, we lived in family villages. So you just run from cousin house to cousin house, and it's
Oh yeah,
so much
definitely.
freedom,
Definitely. I
So
feel that. I mean, like I
yeah.
said, I was just, because she was just so, I was just scared of her. I just didn't know what to make of her, you know what I'm saying? And it was just funny, but like you said, it was like a movie when
Mm-hmm.
you go down there. And I think that's what inspired me to become a filmmaker
Yeah.
and then study communications in college and work in television and film
Mm-hmm.
for over 15 years now. I'm in the school system now, but how I got into the school system was through film
Okay.
and and gardening as well. So my
Mm-hmm.
school has a garden, and so I learned taught gardening there as filmmaker. I mean, I'm in leadership now, but I did start as a teacher
Mm-hmm.
and a filmmaker. So yeah, those yeah, a lot
Oh,
in
that's great.
common.
We got a
And I
lot
know
in
I know about
common.
like all the
Yes.
stuff you talking about, the cabbage
Mm-hmm.
with the red pepper in it. Most people don't put red pepper flakes or whatever in their
Uh-huh.
cabbage, and that's some good eating right there. And the butter, and the butter. You know what I'm saying?
It is. Yes. That butter gives it a finish, So, and now currently I do it. I just throw some of my herb butter in it, and it just hits. So yeah, I'm down here now
Okay.
to plant
Yeah,
some
garlic.
garlic.
It's time to plant your garlic,
So
y'all. Yesterday
so
I
yeah.
attempted to do a live planting garlic,
Mm-hmm.
and I waited till 6:30, and it started out really great, and then it got dark,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, and I
Getting
didn't want
dark.
to, I got all a bunch of equipment too, and I didn't feel like logging the equipment outside, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Then it got dark, and then I tried to do it again today, but it started
Mm.
raining this morning, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna do it on Monday, and then I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
I'm gonna bring out the lights, the big
Okay.
boys, and show the people how to really plant the garlic.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
going?
show off.
Oh, you showing off.
Who
Okay.
taught you how to do the gardening? Was it
Yes.
your grandparents who actually said, "Okay,
Um,
we're gonna get you started"?
it it was my father, because although I grew up coming down here, we more so was harvesting. I don't remember going through the whole process, when my grandparents was out here, but um, I do remember my grandpa, getting on his tractor and doing all the stuff. But again, I wasn't, I was a kid. We was probably trying to slide down that slip and slide, and had fun with the water hose. But my father, he grew up down here, so he was very familiar with everything, because he even was a sharecropper at a time. And he picked cotton and all that with his aunts and uncles and his grandmother and grandpa. And so he basically was the one that told me, sign up for the community plot. My father has been into sustainability before it became, popular. He used to go so far as to like do my sister's science project and install the solar panels and all that. And I would be like, they're going to know she didn't do this. But anyway, he'd be pissed that she ain't went first place. And I'm like, this looks like a well engineered, project. But anyways, he was the one that kept telling me to, get a plot and grow my own food. So I had signed up and I got it. And luckily, my family, they was still living up in DC. So he was able to come out, and help me during my first years. So and now I just, I pick up things. Now I'm teaching him things. So he's gonna come out here a little later to
Okay.
help me with my spot over
That's
there,
what's up. So your
and get
first
the garlic
garden.
in. Yeah. But
Okay.
my father, hold on, I gotta say something. My father is he is a horticulturalist like to the T, because he on my grandfather's side of the family, all of them keep beautiful house plants. We still have house plants that have been in our
Oh
family
wow.
for over 150 years. So he is a beast at the house plants and stuff, you know. So I'm more so getting into the
So
crop
tell me,
stuff, you know,
was your
more
first
so.
garden down in North Carolina or was it in DC? Okay.
Nah, it was in Maryland. Yeah, it was in Maryland, but now I'm starting to be in between down here in Maryland, because I want to expand and go back to my great grandparents' farm to
Oh, that's what's up.
reinstate and
That's what's up. So
install
with your
that.
first
So
garden, what did you grow?
yeah. The first year it was so funny because I didn't really know what I was doing. I love sunflowers, and so I planted these sunflowers. And I remember my father saying, just put them kind of like in the corners. But I didn't even read the pack to know that them joints got 8 feet. So they got so tall, and it was shade and everything. I planted some butter beans. I was trying to plant stuff that I remember eating down here. I planted some butter beans, but I ain't really know how you were supposed to train them up. I had some okras. I planted a lot of random stuff, but everything sprouted and grew. So you know, logistically, it didn't make sense, you know, but I definitely ate good my first year, and I fed my family. And so, yeah, so now it just keeps getting better, you know, because I learn more. I'm not an expert. I be out there Googling, you know, and stuff. I love using YouTube and things like that. So yeah, so what is going on? I've been doing it since 2015. Yeah, so we in 2021. So I'm
That's what's
loving
up.
it.
Did
I'm
you
loving the evolution.
growing all that stuff like you said, the seeds you didn't know the sunflowers get 8 feet tall. Did you learn any other mistakes and how did you correct those mistakes the next year?
Yeah. Even with carrots, you know, those are tricky. I just realized, one, you look at the pay attention to the variety of stuff you growing. Like there's sunflowers that's shorter. I just had the mammoth big ones, you know, and so but then also I realized, like, okay, sunflowers are pretty, but I'm not really gonna eat them, because by the time they get to the seed stage, the birds eat them. So I didn't grow them next year, and then I realized how tall okras get. So I started to say, let me put the okras, you know, on the edge or the borders and create, you know, like a natural fence, because the deers was off the hook one year. And now I just really I really grow what I eat. I don't grow things that I don't really like. And so so yeah, it just, and then I try new stuff here and again, but I'm very kind of traditional with, I be liking the same things. So like right now my father and my grandma, they think it's criminal not to grow some mustard greens. And I don't know, mustard greens. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I know that traditionally they love them mustards
I'm
and
gonna
them
fight you.
turnips.
I'm
So,
gonna fight you because I like mustard
um,
greens too.
'cause, girl, but I be telling, and my grandma, I be telling her, I be saying, I'm growing kale, and she like, kale, you know, she never heard of that. So I threw some collards in, but I don't know, it may be a little short to try to get some mustards in, but down here it's a little warmer, so
Oh yeah,
I may
mustard
do
and
her a
some
patch of
turnips, some
mustards.
rutabagas. I'm sure they
Hmm.
love rutabagas down there too. You know.
Uh-huh, they
Yeah.
love all
My
that.
grandma
Yeah,
used
you
to
know.
do the rutabagas. Always say in honor
Hmm.
of grandma and them, grow some rutabagas, some turnips, and some mustard greens. You know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we did have kale when we was growing up,
Yes.
but it was like not how kale is now. It just used to be mixed green. Grandma would just throw
Mhm.
everything in the pot. If it was some kale, it
Right.
was kale,
Right.
collards, mustard,
Yeah.
turnips. We would have all that.
Yeah. Yeah. They call them salad greens
Okay,
down
yep.
here. They call them salad greens. And like you said, it be a mixture of oil in the pot, and they hit different. I don't see some of the greens we used to see. Like remember eating green called rape greens that I really loved as a kid. But it's like now all this new stuff, kale. Even sometimes some of the collards don't even look like the collards that I remember them growing down here. But I'm just trying to get back to some of those indigenous ways and get to some of the farmers and get some of the seeds, because they down here. It's just a matter of, you know, making the connections,
That's what's up.
to get to it.
Speaking of seeds, where do you get your seeds from?
Well, I started this past maybe 2 years, I started to let my stuff go to seed. And now I have my own seed line and my own seeds. So but if I don't, like say for instance, like I just grew some cantaloupe that I had bought back some seeds from Senegal. So I saved those seeds and bought them back. So if I don't have the seeds like myself for the crop, I'll try to like, source it from another farmer or gardener who I know, they cultivated the seed and stuff, because seeds they can be, I don't know, like I said, even it's, I don't know, where can I find them rape greens at? You used to could go to the markets and the farmers markets. I haven't heard them in a year. So some of these things I would love to see. I'm sure it's some black folks who still growing these, greens down here. But I would like to access some of those things so we can bring and cultivate those, those vegetables that our ancestors and our people before us
Yeah,
did,
most definitely.
and bring
Brooklyn
those back.
Beauty.
Mhm.
Falani is in North Carolina. She's lives in DC, but she's in
Mhm.
North Carolina right now on her grandparents' land, planting some garlic like you're gonna plant on Monday. Um, and yeah, folks, if you came in late,
Mhm.
Falani is down in North Carolina today, on her parents' garden. Um, Grandparents. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's my
Grandparents.
grandparents.
Grandparents
Yeah.
down there.
Uh-huh.
And she's growing a lot of
Uh-huh.
things. She's gonna start some garlic today. And I'm just happy to have Falani on today.
Mhm.
It's a blessing. We just
Yes.
talking. We having a conversation. As I said before, black and brown people are just
Mhm.
reconnecting to the land, and this is a place where we can talk and have our own safe space to talk. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully along the lines, inspire
Mhm.
all people of color. And like I said before, people that might not look like us. Hopefully we can inspire them too, because it's all about just growing our own food and being sustainable for the future. Because you never know what's going to happen with the food
Mhm.
supply. You don't know when the next pandemic is going to hit hard.
Mhm.
It might wipe up. The next one might wipe out all
Mhm.
the food.
Mhm.
So if you don't know how to grow, you're gonna be short. You know what I'm saying? So what
Mhm.
was your first garden success? Like what was
Yes.
something that you really was like, damn, I did that.
Well, when I planted and seen the stuff, come up and start eating, that's a success to me, So I would say the first year, everything that I planted, it sprouted and it grew and I ate. Even though if my garden sometimes wasn't functional where I couldn't get in stuff, or maybe the sunflowers, was shading something, but I still was eating. So for me, my success is um everything, if I put it in and it sprout, then boom, a few weeks or a month, I'm eating from it.
That's what's
That's
up. My next
success to
question: what
me.
advice would you give a new gardener that
Mhm.
might be on today, watching us today, or watching the replay later on in the week? What is a good advice would you give a new gardener?
Mhm. I would say just kind of you can start where you are. Don't get intimidated, thinking you need to know this or that or have all these tools. I of course I got started in a community plot, so that space had already been kind of cultivated, to grow. But I did still have to, break the ground and get in and till the soil and do the weeding and stuff. Um, and of course I do have the support. Have the support of my family and kind of like the innate skills, but it's really, really not that hard, you all. It's really just about getting some soil, some compost. You can start, and even if you're in an apartment, you can grow stuff in pots. You can put stuff in your windowsill, on the balcony. You could grow a salad garden in your windowsill. It's just about getting the soil, getting the compost, getting the
That's
seeds,
what's
which
up.
you can get from me, and knowing, how deep to plant the stuff, and also being cognizant of what can grow, at the certain times. But this is again all stuff that I Google. I'm not an expert. I be out there dusting off the dirt from my hands, picking up my phone, going to Google. Companion planting is very important to know. And companion planting is basically crops that do well, next to each other. Such as, like, for example, Native Americans had the Three Sisters crops, where it's like it's the
String beans.
corn,
I
string
want I
beans,
want to
and what's
say
the other one?
tomatoes, maybe.
Uh, Maybe, yeah, tomatoes. And so, and that's the way that system works, is like the corn is going to grow and be nice and strong, but the beans can kind of latch on that vine. And this is just an example of some companion plant, but it's plenty of stuff. Almost every crop you grow, if you're going to be outside doing different crops, just sometimes I be kind of like in a rush and I don't even Google what is best to plant by. I be like, what is what should I not plant by this? And I go by that because I try to maximize as much space as possible to get as much yield
Yeah, I definitely
that I
like
can get.
companion planting too. I believe like you said, the Three Sisters is corn,
Hmm.
beans, string beans, and I think tomatoes too. But I know carrots as well because you can put the carrots at the
Hmm.
bottom because the carrots grow down underneath and they
Right.
enrich your soil, so that makes
Under.
the soil
Hmm.
better for the corn and the beans
Hmm.
that, and then the beans can climb on the corn. I believe tomatoes are somewhere in there. I can't remember everything.
Exactly.
And I'm not an expert either. I mean,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
recently took the master garden class, and I'm a certified master gardener now. So thank you, and I'm excited
Oh,
about that. But
congratulations.
still in that
Yeah.
process, I'm still learning.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's a
Hmm.
great thing.
Hmm.
Um, how do you decide when what you want to grow? Is it just based off what you want to eat, or you just doing a little bit of everything? Because you are starting like
Yeah.
that garden
Yeah.
box thing, and say you might like collard greens, but
Hmm.
the folks that want to buy the box want to buy mustard greens. So how do you decide what you're gonna grow?
Hmm. Yeah, well, as I was saying before, I started, growing mainly for to sustain my life, and my family. So I really I grow what I eat, and and because my space, I'm in like a 10 by 20 garden space up, in Maryland. So for me, it's limited. So I have to keep in mind what to grow. But I grow seasonally. What's good to plant, at certain times and things like that. But of course, I'm gonna expand more because my space is expanding. So I'll be able to grow crops that I just don't like. I mean, that I just like, rather, but I mean, for me, I try to I grow crops that our people ate and that I grew up, eating. I didn't used to like okra when I was younger, but when I started growing it, I love it, because it's not as slimy, when it's nice and fresh, and it's certain ways you can prepare it. And like beets too. I remember when I would be small and sometimes my father would just get a yearning for beets. He'd be like almost dying to get some beets. And I'm like, why is he so pressed? He'd be like, I gotta get some beets. But see, that's something down here that they do, My who just asked about beets? I think it was my grandmother last night. I'm growing a few for her, but they not ready yet. So I just try to grow things that I'm familiar with that has been in my family, family's diet, and
Yeah, that's what's
um
up. That's what's up. I feel the
yeah,
same way
that's
about
about the
okra
size
and
of it.
beets. My grandmama used to be so pressed for those beets.
Hmm.
Go to the store, give me some canned beets. Go give me some pickled beets. I was like, Grandma, that looks
Mm-hmm.
so nasty. What is
Yeah, the
going
pickle
on with
one.
it? And then, after I got
Mm,
older, I'm like,
yeah.
Dad, where the beets at? I need some beets. I need the beets for my salad. I need to
Yeah.
roast
And
them.
they
I need
tasty.
them. Where are the beets?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and the
roast them
okra
is
the same way. I
so
always
yummy.
thought about that
Yes.
sliminess, but when you grow them fresh,
Hmm.
it's totally different, and
Hmm.
people just don't know. You know what I'm saying? I do pickling.
Yep.
I pickle my okra. I
Hmm.
like to fry the
Hmm.
okra. I like to cut them in
Hmm.
half and then put like cream cheese
Hmm.
and all kinds of crap on it. Um, it's really, really, really good.
Mm.
So yeah, I love
Okay.
some okra and some
Yes.
beets. I got some golden beets now, that I'm growing, and they gold color and they
Okay.
really like a really nice, pretty, bright orange
I
color. So
bet.
yeah, I love some okra.
Mm.
If you love okra and beets, put a thumbs up in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's see who likes the okra and the beets now since you got older, because I definitely didn't like them when I was little.
Yeah. Yeah. Me neither. But yeah, they're tasty and they so healthy for you. You can eat those beet tops and put them in your salad and everything. I'm growing some Detroit. They may not even be called this. I may be calling them Detroit Red Beets. But Detroit Red was Malcolm X name, one of his nicknames. But yeah, I'm growing. No, it's a bull's blood beet. That's what they know, Detroit Red. But yeah, so it looked like comments coming through. Tell me
Yeah,
how this
I was
works.
gonna
Can
put
we
that in
take
the
questions from people?
yeah.
Oh, but you
But
probably go.
yeah,
You
a
got that
lot of
in there.
people like the
Okay.
beats. Lots of
But
people
yeah,
like
go
the
go
beats.
ahead. Keep.
But if you have a question for Falani, put it in the chat now or put it in the little question thing. If you scroll over, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, the second little box down at the bottom. There's a question thing. You can put the question right there or just put it right there in the chat. Okay? Yeah, what's up,
Yeah, I
family?
see all my
I
family
love
in
when
here.
family join and
Hey,
support.
a lot of fam. I love y'all. And some of my cousins I'm gonna see today. My sister gonna come down,
That's what's
help
up.
me plant with my niece. Uh-huh. I see you, Leah.
Yeah,
Jenny
shout
here
them
from
out.
New
Shout them
York.
out.
Ty. Hey, Ty. My girl, Bookman Express. They from Jamaica. I love it. Who else? I saw Chrissy in here. Sear. Look at me, y'all. Y'all know I'm from DC. I gotta do the roll call. Hey, Debbie
And
Dash.
ain't nothing wrong with the roll call. I love
Yes,
when family
I
come in
love it.
and support they peeps. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. What is your favorite
Mm-hmm.
vegetable to grow and why? You only can pick one. Only one.
Uh, only
Okay, you
one.
can pick two. You can pick two.
That's okay. Um, I would say that is so tough. Okra are actually one of my faves, especially in the summertime because they just be coming and it's just a nice, good snack. Okra is one of my faves, and then the other one, I love lima beans, but I don't really grow them like that because it take a lot of space and a lot of time. So I would
Okay,
say
that's
okra
what's up.
and
I love some
cabbage.
cabbage too. What is your favorite place in the garden to be? Like, is it a certain space out there in North Carolina or in DC that you like to be at that you can sit there all day?
Yeah, I'm so well and when I'm up back home in the community, God, I just be going in there to grow my stuff and just dipping out. I don't really be sitting down, I go to work. But when I come down here,
Okay,
I show
that's
you
what's
my
up.
favorite place to sit. And hold on, let me turn the okay, so this is really where right now we rent this out to other
Okay,
farmers who do soybeans. But But my area, we're gonna walk over there, is over there. But this way I love to sit under the pecan trees. This way
that's what's up.
everybody loves to sit
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
under those. You see these beautiful pecan trees. So I love to sit over here, under here. And then now over here in this area where um we've been cultivating. I'm gonna plant the garlic and the and I'm gonna
That's
do
what's
some
up.
African ginger too after I pour the garlic up. So if y'all some chefs out there, little restaurants, small chef businesses and cooking businesses, I'm gonna have some 5 different organic varieties of garlic for sale, come summertime. So this where we at. I just got the compost and some mulch delivered. And so yeah, this is I like to sit right over there under them trees. And then the sun sets over there too. So it's just
That's what's
really
up.
beautiful.
Brooklyn Beauty wants to know
hmm
what part of North Carolina are you in? Oh, okay.
I don't want to give our secret place away, but I'm not too far from we're not too far from Raleigh and Durham. We're not too far from Raleigh and Durham. Just put it like this: I'm in a country, in a super duper country where you can't date anybody because everybody is family. So, uh, so yeah, but we're not too far from Raleigh and Durham, and the soil actually is it's kind of sandy here. We like maybe like an hour or so from the beach, so I'm excited to mix my compost in the soil. Because it apparently, I think ginger and all this
Okay.
garlic and stuff, it like the soil. So this soil is very nice and rich. As y'all know, North Carolina is an agricultural state, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, peaceful place. Um, so I'm excited to start coming down here more and learn family recipes and things like that. Sit with my
That's what's
elders and
up. What do
collect the
you enjoy most
stories.
about gardening?
Um, I would, I, I like the tranquility that it brings, and it's also very healing to me. I've had depression, and anxiety, so for me, it's very good for my mental, my spiritual, and of course for your physical, because you're gonna eat these nutrient
Oh, that's what's up.
crops. So
Cool. We definitely got a
yeah, those
lot
are
in
my
common. I
favorite
actually
things.
got into gardening. Like I said, my grandparents did garden, but they didn't teach us garden. Once they came to Maryland, they was like, "Bump that! We not doing no gardening. We gonna get us a real job." You know what I'm saying? Until every time we fell on hard times, that's when they
hmm
turned to gardening. And so I did fall on some hard times, and that was the first thing out my mama's mouth was, "Go get you a garden." I was like, "I don't want a garden." You know what I'm saying? But I was dealing with depression
Mhm.
mental health was not the greatest. I even wanted to commit
Mhm.
suicide, you know, and my mom
Mhm.
was like, "You got to get a garden and
Mhm.
grow something that you like the most," which
Yeah.
was strawberries at that time. So I actually put
Yeah.
strawberries in the ground. Big
Uh-huh.
mistake, but it was still rewarding because the big mistake was
Mhm.
they like grew all over
Right.
the yard. You know what I'm saying? And then when it was time to plant something different,
Yeah,
I
they
couldn't plant
spread.
anything because the strawberries were everywhere. And it's funny, it's like it's maybe 15 years now in the game, and those same strawberries are still growing in my
Mhm.
yard.
Mm.
Yeah, I just dug them up and
Look
put
at
them
that.
in
See?
barrels.
That
That's what
is amazing.
I have them in now, but they're still
Okay.
growing. Every now and then
Uh-huh.
I'll see like where I planted them originally. Every now
Nice.
and then I'll see some pop up, just pop up, and I was like, wow, them things still growing.
Yeah. I gotta come out there and check
Oh
you out,
yeah,
man. You got a lot of cool stuff growing. That I
yeah.
would have never even thought, that would be
I know,
possible
right?
up there in
My
that zone.
pomegranate tree
So,
is blooming, and I have
yeah.
5 pomegranates, and I'm really, really excited. They're about like I don't know, they're medium size. Um, yeah,
Oh, I think I
yeah,
seen you
that was
post
really
about
exciting
one
to
of them.
see that
Yeah.
happen. And right now, I'm feasting off persimmons from my backyard. And I'm really excited about that. And then last year, I had my
Okay.
first bananas. They were about this big, but they were yeah.
But that's amazing, bananas. Because when I was down here last time, I was at a cousin's house in Raleigh, and I noticed their neighbor had in their yard had a banana plant, and I was a banana tree, and I was like, I ain't know bananas could even grow in North Carolina.
Yeah,
So
that's what's up.
that's
So you
interesting.
said you had traveled to overseas,
Yeah.
Africa, Senegal, and you got some seeds. Now, when you was over
Uh-huh.
there, did you see the folks
Mm-hmm.
gardening, and how does gardening over there relates to gardening over here in the United States? Do you think it's different? It's better?
Yeah. Um. Well, no, they doing more so farming. I didn't see any like, in the city. I didn't see too much, like
Okay.
gardening, urban agriculture going on. But they, because they have farms, they have more probably space. But one thing is interesting that you brought that up because in me kind of observing the city life, they need to do some urban, you know, gardening because it doesn't hurt. But I don't think maybe in their mind they just think about the farming thing. They may not consider, doing a few pots of tomatoes, which they love to use, or peppers, just in some pots, in their yard. So that's something that I found interesting because I did visit a farm and it was cool to see. But then I was like, what about the people, that's living in the city that sometimes do go hungry and can get access to food? I feel like I would love to do an initiative like a urban agriculture, project in I don't know what country because I go to different ones, but um on a continent somewhere. And because it seemed like it was a lack of urban, and it could be some stuff going on that I didn't know, but yeah, I think even back home, I want to just I want our people to just start growing where they are and not think, even if you just growing three things, we don't have to think we have to have this big farm. Stuff is food and produce is expensive, and it's also a lot of it is genetically modified. It is fake. Even Whole Foods organic stuff could never taste like the stuff that you grow
I,
at home. So
no, not
do
really.
y'all hear echo? Do you hear echo?
Yeah, I agree with you. When I
Okay.
first grew my first
So
tomatoes, like I wasn't a big tomato person, like fresh tomatoes. Like I like spaghetti sauce, but I
mhm.
didn't like fresh tomatoes until I started growing my own tomatoes. And when I ate that first tomato, I was blown away of the freshness, the way it tasted, and then the crazy part is that shelf life. You got to eat it right away, or it's gonna be gone. And you know that's real food right there
Mm-hmm.
because some of that stuff you buy
Yeah.
today, those tomatoes you buy from the grocery
Right.
store today can last for like two
Let
weeks or forever.
Last
Yeah.
forever. It's
So black
crazy.
folks,
Yeah. You like, why is this? Even the apples, oh, it's too much stuff out there to be
way too
lasting just
long.
way too long. So, but you know, I pick as I go. I don't harvest a lot. I harvest what I'm going to eat that, that day or that next day. Because that's another thing also I notice in my travels is that people fridges don't be full and stack like Americans do. I used to be baffled to see people put a meal together, and I'm like, they didn't really even have much in the fridge. But that's because they get as they cook fresh as needed. And like just now, my aunt walked in with 2 dozen fresh eggs from her coworker. Have some hens and stuff. So them eggs, she just made some French toast,
That's what's
and
up.
I want to scramble some so I can really taste it because
There
them
we go. We
eggs
got
be
something else
hitting
in common.
different.
I love some scrambled eggs, and if they come from the farm, fresh off that farm, they even
Mm-hmm.
better, even better, y'all.
Mm.
So, folks
Yep.
out there,
Nothing
start
like
growing your
it.
own food, or tell a
Uh-huh.
friend to start growing their own food. All the Falani family and friends, if y'all
Yeah.
not growing, y'all need to grow too. Don't just let her be the one that's growing. Y'all think y'all gonna come and
Mm-hmm.
get all her food.
Yeah, I mean, right. I want y'all to grow your own too, but don't worry because for those who are feeling intimidated,
All
I
right, talk
even
about the
have a
class.
class
Talk
that
it.
I
Plug
do,
it. Plug it.
Sunday school. Yeah, Sunday school. So, and Sunday school is about doing a field study and reconnecting with the land about the basics of gardening. Again, I told y'all it's not difficult, it's not a big challenge. You're gonna make mistakes like you're gonna make mistakes with everything. And but you just gotta start. So I did a few sessions for the fall planting season, but I'm bringing it back, in the spring once it warms up and it's time to break ground again. So again, we want to encourage everyone to grow, but if you're feeling some type of way, I can help you and and teach you. And I even do consultations and stuff as well. So and then if you just want to keep buying my produce, I love that too because it's a vibe, and and seriously, it's literally a vibe. I've fed my salads to people that I grow, and when they take one bite, you put them carrots that you grew in there. When they take one bite,
Okay,
then
Grandpa.
they go my grandpa. When they when they take one bite, hey grandpa. When they take one bite, they say, "Oh my God, the energy! Like I feel energized." Sometimes they say they even felt like their eyes kind of opened up
Oh
wider,
wow.
or peeled back. So the nutrients is just
They do hit
amazing and it's
differently. They
energetic.
definitely do hit differently when you grow your own food. Someone asked, "Do you replace all your dirt in DC because it's so clay in DC?"
Um, well, so again, I'm in a community garden, right? So I'm not like I didn't just go in to the regular soil. The community garden where I'm at has been cultivated. This lady used to own a house and that she used to garden there. So this land has been, cultivated to garden. So it's not just like, your average dirt. What I suggest for those who want to do that, don't go into that dirt. Just go ahead and do you some raised beds. I wouldn't mess with it because you're going to find yourself. It is very clay and a lot of stuff. I had a client and she was trying to grow some of the things that I grew, and it just wasn't successful because the soil was just too clay, even after we mixed compost and all of that in it. So I suggest raised beds, and that's what we did for her. And since we've been doing the raised beds and stuff, it's been a success for her. So now where I'm at down here, this is agricultural land, so they ain't do nothing but ran the tractor up and that soil is so fertile and it's nice and loose. I could go all the way, into it with my arm. So now I'm just mixing some compost in that. But again, I'm in a different landscape down here in North Carolina. But I suggest that if you in the DC area, go ahead and do you some raised beds for some things like tomatoes and peppers and sweet potatoes and stuff. You can do in containers. Um,
That's
and
what's up.
what else? You can do your herbs,
That's
salads,
what's up.
all
I
that.
have raised garden beds too in my yard. The soil is not as clay in my yard, but I have over the years cultivated it now to the point where
Mm-hmm.
I'm always composting in my backyard, and then I'm just
Mm-hmm.
amending that soil every year
Mm-hmm.
from the compost that I create, and I rarely
Mm-hmm.
buy any soil or
Right.
compost. This past year, I wanted to try some cow manure. So I did try that to see how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
It worked pretty good. I didn't really see a difference. I didn't really see a difference for me,
Okay.
but it was pretty good.
Okay.
That was the first time I ever used cow manure in my yard. But yeah, definitely get some raised garden beds.
Mm-hmm.
I can help you
Mm-hmm.
with that if you're in the DC area, or Philadelphia area, or Virginia
Mm-hmm.
area. I'll come down and build you some garden boxes, and I'm sure Falani will do that
See?
as well.
And you can buy no, I'm not building nobody boxes, but you can buy some seeds from me, but I can consult you, and then, provide you with a guide and material, but I'm not building no beds for nobody. But Kimani will build
Yeah.
the beds and you can
Boom, there
get your
you go.
seeds from me.
Boom, boom, boom,
Boom.
boom. There you go. There. One person wants to know what kind of plant
Hmm.
life can we keep around in the wintertime inside the house? I'm assuming vegetables or herbs.
Yeah, so right now I have going some herbs in my windowsill, which is I have some lemon balm, some basil. I have all these seeds for sale. Lemon balm, basil, cilantro, and parsley. Now I did bring my ginger plant in, and it looked like it's starting to kind of die out, which is kind of exciting because I guess soon, it'll be ready to pull up. So I have this North Carolina, everybody that ride by waves. It's tradition here. So, but even if it's not family, it's just a tradition here.
And we need to get
They
back to
just
that too.
wave. So,
We need to get back to that too
anyways,
all over the place. I know this
yeah.
spring one of my goals is to go in my neighborhood and knock on every door and give them a pack of seeds and give them some dirt and and start
I love
gardening.
that.
I'm not sure what's the name of it. It's gonna be, but I am working on a grant um for it, and that's what I want to do to get
Mm-hmm.
back so we can know our neighbors. Like down there, you said everybody wave. Here we just walk past our
Right.
neighbors. We never know who they are, what they're about, like anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did help my neighbor start a
Yeah.
garden now.
Yeah.
Their garden is in the front yard and the backyard, and they grow everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm jealous of them a little bit. You know what
Right. Right.
I'm saying?
That's funny. Yeah. But look, I want to get back to that question at hand, which was some of the things that we can be doing indoors. So right now, that's what I got going on in the window are those herbs. And you can also, like, this is a time where I start collecting the sweet potatoes or the potatoes that you want to plant in the spring. So last year around this time, I forget the name of this variety of sweet potato, but it's a small, is it jewel? I can't remember. It's a smaller kind of sweet potato, orange in the inside. And then I also love those Japanese sweet potatoes with a skin is purple, but it's white on the inside. So yeah, so I just had went to Whole Foods and got them potatoes. And then I put them under my cabinet, and I just did three potatoes, y'all. I put them under my cabinet, and then because sweet potatoes can be a little tough, so it they take longer to kind of go to root or slips as they call them. So once I start seeing the roots come out, then I stuck a like what's them shish kebab sticks in the through the center, and then put that down in some water, half of it down in some water in a cup, and then you're gonna put that in your windowsill and let the roots gonna start growing underneath, and your slips are gonna grow on the potatoes. Then by the time the spring comes, you're gonna plant your slips. Now sweet potatoes, they take some time. Like I'm just about to harvest mine when I go back up there. So that's another thing, you can start preparing your sweet potato slips. You could just Google that, how to grow sweet potatoes or regular potatoes, whatever potatoes you're interested in. What else can we be doing? You can be doing your planning where you sourcing your seeds. Like
Yeah.
you should source your
Buy your
seeds from
seeds.
me if you want. And get your seeds and stuff. You can
And
start
save your
doing
seeds,
that.
whatever
Um, and saving.
seeds. I mean, of course you want to buy something
Mm-hmm.
online, but
Yeah, you can do your own seed saving. Yep, as well. And again, this is all stuff. If you're not familiar with how to dry them, it's not that hard. You could Google that. But I like, even when I was in Senegal and I ate that cantaloupe, I just simply you know spoon those seeds out and then wash the seeds off in a strainer to get all of the fruits and stuff off. Then I laid the seeds out on a paper towel in a window, and then they dry. And every cantaloupe seed that I bought back that I planted
that's what's
sprouted
up. That's what's up.
successfully.
It's all hour by
Hmm.
in the hour. But because this is like black, this question of this week was black.
Uh-huh.
Favorite question is, what do you want to 5 years with Bird Nest Box?
Yeah. Um my my 2 to 5 year, um the biggest um project would be me getting my great grandparents' farm and homestead back in operation, in full operation, to so that I can honor, the because my great grandfather, he had owned close to 200 acres back. This is shortly after slavery. So I want to get back to the basics of family legacy and values, and really being rooted in sustaining, your life, and getting people to eat healthier, because it's crazy. We even down North Carolina is all this agricultural land, but a lot of people don't farm and garden as much as they used to. So it's just really for me going back to the basics and coming back down here, and
And before
and
we
getting that
leave,
going.
where did Bird Nest Box come from? Where is it, the
First,
whole thing behind it? I mean, what's the
uh,
significance
yeah,
around that Bird
yeah.
Nest Box?
Uh, my nickname is Bird. and in which I was named that from a cousin of mine from Alabama. When I was little, I was always, kind of small, and I used to sit perched, like a bird. And so he started calling me Bird, and hence everyone else start calling me Bird. Well, all my family. If you're not my family, I don't want you to call me Bird. But so my company's name came from that. I used to make jewelry, and I still do import goods from my travels and sell. So before I started growing food, I called my, company Bird's Nest, because it's the idea of picking up these items and putting them in the nest, and then, sharing them with others. Um, so yeah, I essentially I'm still kind of doing the same thing. I still do travel throughout the African diaspora and on the continent. If I'm not collecting tangible items to sell, I'm collecting um, mental um, notes and things of that sort to instill, in my company. Oh, okay. Yes. I know we gotta meet up in each other's gardens. Yes. Okay, we'll do. Okay. That would be fun. Yes. Okay. I love it. Yes. Of course. Yes. That's the idea. I want to see I want to see the historical home, because I love our story. So I look forward to meeting you. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for everyone who chimed in and tuned in. Okay. All right. Look. Mm-hmm. For real. Oh, I can't wait to pull mine up. Okay. Okay. Right. To do, yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Ashe.